Welcome to Resilience Plus Rise, the podcast. The podcast based on my book Resilience Plus Rise 26.2 Transformative Miles to Unleash Your Marathon of Life Mindset. One of the questions that I usually ask in this particular podcast, or the reason this podcast has been, is that are you ready to turn your adversity into your greatest asset? I believe the true power found in title or following, but the untold stories of those who have wrestled with life's storm and emerged with a light that shines brighter. That's the core of Resilience Plus Rise, the podcast.
All right.
I was fortunate to meet today's guest just a little more than few days back. And there are sometimes you meet some people and they just create a beautiful impact. And Earl Flormata, he has been such a personality.
Thank you.
I met him at Fucked Up Nights.
Yeah.
Yes, you heard it right. So, what does Earl do apart from just being such a shining persona?
Um,
For just a moment, Earl. He helps business eliminate the guesswork in marketing and replace it with a structured, scalable growth systems. His work centers uncovering the hidden revenue opportunities, fixing conversion bottlenecks, and designing marketing mechanics that drive real profits, not just traffic or engagement. So for me, Earl, the way he came in and he started his talks, there was something which was simply wonderful about just the way he impacted the audience. When he talks about millions or six-figure amount, it is just like when you're going to McDonald's and ordering a burger. He has gone through it. Anyway, without saying much more, Earl, welcome to Resilience Plus Rise, the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you coming to our event, and I appreciate you having me on the cast.
So, Earl, you one of the statements I say is that from our deepest of pains comes the deepest of purpose. You have been involved in showing the light to entrepreneurship, to businesses in a way haven't thought about in some way or the other. What got you onto this platform of helping others or seeing things in a different way?
I think I've always kind of just been like that, right? So I've
Mhm.
always been the wanting to help others, wanting to do that sort of thing. So as far as I've known myself, which is all of 46 years, um, I've never really had like a dream, right, for myself. And so I never had those dreams. I was just happy working away, doing my own thing. And as the opportunities presented themselves where I could help other people,
Mhm.
I kind of that's kind of what makes me tick. If somebody wants help or needs help, that's where I kind of gravitate to, and that's kind of what I do now. So I get my energy and joy from watching other people succeed, right?
Fantastic.
And so that's I think other people talked about, the more people that you help, the more you succeed, and I think that's true, right? Because the more people that I help, the more gain I get. But at the same time, I don't get the happiness necessarily from my own gain. It's the I guess it's the output afterwards, right? You help other people, you help yourself, you make more, they make more, everybody makes more. It becomes a virtuous cycle as opposed to a vicious cycle.
Wonderful. Earl is based in Vancouver, and guys, I will be putting out Earl's contact details in the comments below. So if this conversation gets onto your vibe and you believe that there's something about Earl that you got to connect with him. He's a fantastic personality. The question that comes in is that in today's world, wherein you're helping people to look through the revenue streams and things like that, and of course, on the other side, we have got the emergence of AI, which is coming up.
Hmm.
A lot of people they believe that that's quite a bit of solutions. It may not, some people may believe that's all the solutions, some people believe that's some of the solution. So, how do you differentiate between what you do and the solutions or the ideas that a AI would provide?
So in the AI space, a lot of it is, if you understand it, it's magnification, right?
Hmm.
So I'll use a different analogy,
Sure.
right? So some people, when they drink, right? You notice when they drink, it magnifies their personality. If
Hmm.
they're a happy person, they're a happy drunk. If they're an angry person, they're an angry drunk, right? The same thing happens with money, right? You give somebody money, and if they're a great person or a good person, they'll do good with the money, right? If they're not so great person, they'll do bad with the money, right? And so the same tool happens to be with artificial intelligence. Everyone goes, oh, that's great, and da 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 da. It's the same thing, right? And I got in trouble for this analogy last time I used it, but I don't care because we're on your show. We can do whatever we want. And so the analogy was: is a gun inherently good or bad?
Hmm.
And it depends on who's holding it, right? The same gun can protect your flock, can protect your sheep, can keep the wolves away, right? The same gun I can shoot myself in the foot, right?
True.
Is the gun inherently good or evil? It is not. So the same thing is traditionally structured with artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence has to have that spark of humanity. So you have the spark of humanity. And if you look at artificial intelligence, it's the copy of humanity. And the problem is that some people are using it as incorrectly, right? So if you've ever used the photocopier and you make a copy and you make a copy, and then you take that copy and you make a copy of that copy, and you copy the copy, the copy, the copy, it gets worse progressively as you
True.
go further. So it's not meant to replace humanity. It's meant to augment humanity. So whenever I use AI, it makes something like that's human based go faster and further, right? If you use it to completely replace, it doesn't do as good as of a job, right? Because the copy of the copy becomes weak. And so it's there for automation. It's there for doing certain different tasks that humans shouldn't be doing necessarily. So I've always said the words: humans should do human jobs, robots should do robot jobs,
Hmm.
right? So AI is there for certain things, and AI is not there for other things, right? So that's really the case. So one time we were setting this up for a dentist office, and
Hmm.
I set up AIs to be able to answer the phone, right? And AI can answer 90% of the calls. What's your address? What time are you open? Oh, I need to reschedule. Those are all robot jobs, right? A human doesn't need to answer those jobs. But then when it comes to an escalation and now you need to talk to a human, that 10%, that's what the humans are for, right? And then the other pieces, like you talked about meeting me at an event, right? Events can't be run by AI. It has to be set up by the humans and run by the humans. So again, it's humans do human work, AIs do AI work. So
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. In fact, that analogy about the gun, I had the privilege of sitting down with a doctor, and he said more or less the same thing, is that a scalpel with a doctor does
yes,
different function than a scalpel to another person.
right. Well, one
But
gives life, one takes life, right? That's this
it depends on how you're
same
looking
tool.
at it.
Same
True.
tool. Yeah.
So I come directly to the next question, is that you have been in this field for a while and you have seen the different personas coming to you,
Okay.
their challenges and their ups and the downs, etc. But if you were to take on and mention, it may be a trade secret, feel free not to answer it. What were the three top mistakes that you felt people do when they want to get into this role of being an entrepreneur or creating something which could be different?
So the mistakes are all centered around the same school of thought.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of people think that you have to be super creative to be an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
and in fact, it's the opposite. So you don't have to be super creative to be an entrepreneur. A lot of the structure for a lot of successful businesses and a lot of things that work are still the same. right? Even in this day and age of AI, even in the day and age of social media, even in the day and age of everything, right? All social media does, all AI does is make it go faster. So, as an example, let's take a look at making your business an offer, right? Is your offer different? Does it position you as an expert? Does it position you as a place where you're the only one where they can get that answer from, where they can get that information?
Hmm.
If you become the only one, then your messaging is simple, right? And then your offer is simple. We're the only ones who give this. And
Okay.
then once you can do that, this goes back to just the fundamentals of business. So everyone's trying to get fancy. Everybody wants to try the newest thing. Everybody wants to look at all this fancy stuff. At the end of the day, it's there's only five basics in business, and I teach this actually every Tuesday. um, and it's to grow a business to a million, multi-million, whatever, even from zero. There's only five spots to look at, right? And everybody overcomplicates it. And that's why I'm saying that you don't have to be too creative to make a business. You can use the very simple building blocks and make yourself $1 million just using the building blocks, right? And the building blocks, there's only five. It's more leads, right? If you don't have enough leads, people don't know who you are, right? So whatever your marketing is, whatever your structure is, whether you're using social media, AI, a newspaper, it doesn't matter, right? So more leads, then you have to have more conversions. Once you have more conversions are people said yes to your offer,
Okay.
right? And if your offer is the same as everybody else's offer, you don't have an offer, right? It's a commodity. So you have to make something different, right?
Hmm. So, guys, I will be putting out Earl's link,
Yeah,
and where he has this cohort and he helps people in having discussions, etc. So, do reach out to him.
sure. So more
Next,
leads. Oh, so more leads, more convert. I'll finish the idea. More
yeah,
leads,
please,
more
please, sorry.
conversions, more transactions, right? It's another cardinal sin of business, right? Just because I had this one client who had $10 million in revenue, and they only sold their customers once each. They never called their customer back and said, "Hey, do you want some more?" That's crazy. That's crazy, right? And then the next one is higher prices. Increase in the prices and increase in the lifetime value of the client. You can sell other people's stuff and make more money and serve your clients better. And then the last is more profit. It doesn't matter if you make millions and millions of dollars if you don't get to keep it, right? And that's it.
Hmm.
If you can focus fire on those five things, you can take your business from zero to as big as you want to make it, right? With those five pieces up until around 20 million or so. Then 20 million, you have to then focus on HR, because then you're dealing with people at that point. But that's where I kind of draw the line. I typically don't like working with businesses over that size because I'm not the HR guy. So
Okay, wonderful. That was pretty. So, of course, looking at your brand EMG, which is there, that's right.
I said
Uh,
evil marketing genius it's a tongue in
ah,
cheek title that my clients gave me. So
that's so wonderful. Or it could be all marketing genius. Fantastic, evil marketing genius. That's so wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. So, where you mentioned about the elements that could help, those 5 steps that you mentioned that where people could be
yeah.
looking into. But if somebody wants to start as a first step, they know
Hmm.
where they are heading to, what needs to be done, but they believe that they have got a product. One of the things which I believe is that sometimes you look at your product, but
Right.
you don't see it as a business.
Okay.
You invest more onto the product rather than into the business. So, can you say anything on that element?
So in that element, you're starting out, you don't know what you want to do, you kind of have an idea, you're not really quite sure. There's a really good framework
Hmm.
that the Japanese have, and it's called ikigai. And I mentioned it during the event.
True.
And it's only four things. It's only four things, and you have to find out where the concentric joining of the four things happens. And it's only four things. It's what are you good at, right? What do you love? So, because you have to like it, because if you don't like it, and you'll suffer every day you'd have to do it, right? What does the world need? So does anybody care, right? And then what can you get paid for, right? And you find the epicenter of those four things. What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? And what can you get paid for? And that's the premise of Ikigai. If you can find those four things, and as long as, if you said that you potentially have a product or whatever else, as long as you actually like this subject, right? Because if you have the best product in the world and it's a subject that you hate, you're not gonna have a very good day every day of your life, right?
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So, guys, if you believe in Ikigai, this word has been thrown around a lot of times.
Hmm,
A lot of people they talk about Ikigai, but when you translate it into something that works with your life passion, it changes the entire trajectory about how you look at life. Whether it's life, whether it's business, whether it's a relationship, anything.
absolutely. And since you were talking about AI earlier, what you
Hmm.
can do is you can combine the AI with Ikigai. And before, like if you had asked me about this a year ago, it wasn't possible just yet. And
True.
so what you do is you ask AI to interview you. So, hey, ChatGPT, interview me and discover my Ikigai. Give me 20 questions, 2 questions at a time, so it doesn't overwhelm me.
Okay.
And if you do
That's
that and interview you, by the time you're finished, it will produce a document that is your Ikigai, and you can use that against you can test stuff against it. Hey, should I sell this? And it'll check against your Ikigai, and it'll say, hey, that's a good fit for you, or that's a bad fit for you.
wow. Guys, what you got over here is a beautiful golden nugget on how to translate your passion into something which is going to be more stronger. And yeah, you may not want to ask a coach or somebody else, but maybe you can ask the ChatGPT or Gemini or any of those particular ones which you're looking into.
Yeah, but then you accentuate it further,
Of
right? So
course.
if you have a coach, you have a mentor, you have a teacher, what you do is you ask the question, get the interview, export that, and then give that to your teacher, your mentor, your coach, right? Because
Of
then
course.
they'll see the answers, and then you're not starting from zero every time. What your podcast is called Resilience, right? And
Yes.
Rise. So part of that resilience is also self-reliance, right?
Yes.
Not necessarily always depending on the coach or the consultant or whatever to drag you forward every step.
Of course
So
not.
take your own step, do the interview on your own with ChatGPT, and then next time you see the coach, give that to them so they're prepared for your next session. And now you don't just get the value of the session, you get the value of the session plus the self exploration that you did prior to it, right? And then that session you get 3 steps ahead instead of 1 step ahead. That's a big difference, right? If you just do the homework, that's
Hmm.
where the difference is.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Guys, if this conversation has touched you in some way or the other, that you want to make a change and you want to discover or go more in depth, please do connect with Earl. Earl, just being mindful of the time. If there was a last statement or a few statements that you would mention as a parting gift to my audience, what would that be?
Something that I repeat over and over and over again
Please.
is that success leaves clues. Success leaves clues, right? There's nothing new under the sun, right? Even all this new AI stuff is not really necessarily new. It just exposes you to skill sets and things that you weren't able to do before. So if you weren't able to do video editing and AI can do video editing, well, now you can do video editing, right? So there's nothing necessarily quote unquote new under the sun that the regular average person is going to figure out,
Hmm.
right? So what you want to do is you want to look at things in structures, in frameworks. And once you understand the frameworks, the world becomes a much simpler place. And as you start to see the frameworks, it's easier to emulate them. right? Monkey see, monkey do, right? And since success leaves clues, you look at the framework, you recognize the framework, you repeat the framework, and all of a sudden you're successful as well without having to reinvent the wheel. And that's where the magic lies. Everyone thinks that you have to come up with a brand new wheel 2.0 every single time. And the answer is no, you don't, right? So because if you try to do that, what happens is that you're exerting excess energy, which you could be devoting to something much simpler. And when it's simpler, it moves faster. And when it moves faster, you see results. And when you see results, you get happy.
Fantastic. Guys, what we saw was just a small snapshot of what is possible. As I mentioned before, Earl helps businesses eliminate the guesswork. And as he self proclaimed genius of evil marketing genius, and the word that he has been using, the framework, the structure, the scalable growth systems, that's what his mojo is all about. Earl, I take this time to say thank you for your space and time. It has been incredibly, at least for me, quite useful because I know now what I'll be doing, finding out those small things which I can change in my framework to upscale myself. Thank you so very much. And for people to connect to you, what's the best way that they could connect with you?
I think my favorite platform is LinkedIn. So if you want to find me on LinkedIn, there's only one Earl Flormata on LinkedIn. Come on out to LinkedIn and come connect with me. And we run lots of if you're in the Vancouver area, we run lots of networking events where we can meet in person if you're interested, if you're so inclined. But yeah, LinkedIn and networking events, that's where to find me.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much, Earl. And you have a beautiful rest of the day. And thank you very much.
Cheers, Thomas. Take care.